Do we have any questions? Yes, we got a couple of questions. I believe 3 events. The first great event will be the rapture of the church right in the beginning. The second event will be in the middle of the tribulation when the false prophet, the antichrist, will walk into the temple. That's going to be a world-shaking event when the antichrist walks into the Jewish temple that's set up for God Jehovah and declares that he is God. And I say this in a biblical perspective, all hell is going to break loose. That is the second event. The third a major event is when Jesus, in chapter 19 of Revelations, when Jesus comes back riding on the horse and all the armies in heaven come with him, and he comes down and the battle of Armageddon takes place and he puts his feet right back on. That is the third great event. And that is what we who believe in pre-tribulation rapture means. So thank you for asking that question, though. The Gog and Magog, every one of these events has to have the stage set up, the platform set up for those events to unfold. So Gog and Magog and tumult, all of those world-leading nations and alliances have to come together. It's not going to come together overnight. When you read in the book of Revelation chapter 6, and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are sent out, that first man who is sent out, the first one who's riding the horse, I believe is the spirit of the Antichrist, being released upon the land so that he can go out and conquer with diplomacy. It said he was sent out to conquer and to conquer, for the purpose of conquering and to accomplish the conquering. How? In diplomacy. He did not have an arrow. He had a bow, but he didn't have an arrow, indicating it was going to be with diplomacy. The Antichrist, Gog and Magog, and all of the rulers of those nations are going to come together to set up the stage and the platform so that the Battle of Armageddon can take place. That's going to happen. That started when Jesus ascended upon high. Those forces begin to work. The Antichrist spirit was sent out. Now, I believe that the sand was poured, that color of sand. You can call it the white sand because of the white horse. And then right after that, then there was another seal. Jesus is the one opening the seal, by the way. This is indicating that it's one seal, one roll, that has different pages in it. The first seal opens up one aspect of it. And then a white horse said, I heard a voice in heaven. And he called forth the one on the white horse and gave him one crown and gave him authority to go out and to establish an agenda to conquer and then to complete it. That horseman took off when Jesus ascended up on high. And it began to continue to run, and it runs all the way. That color of sand runs all the way until the end that Jesus comes down and puts his foot down at the end of the 7 years of tribulation, because the stage has to be set. Now the question comes in, when did the red horse, the seal for the red horse, the second seal, and the third seal, and the fourth seal, because those are the red horse, the black horse, and then the pale horse. That, I don't know. I'm not going to try to draw a conclusion of this, but the stages are being set. And where I believe we are in this stage is right at the threshold when we step into the 7 years of tribulation. And that's why I believe and I subscribe to the doctrine that we are at the rapture of the church. The Lord is getting ready to rapture the church. But to answer your question, Ruth, is Armageddon, in order for the Gog and Magog and tumult, something is going to take place within those 7 years that is going to cause every nation, including America's government, not every people, not all the people, But every nation is going to either take an active role in destroying the nation of Israel, or is going to take no role at all in protecting them. You see what I'm saying? They're going to step back. Now we know that we can draw a conclusion of, who China is. China is mentioned in there, and Russia and Turkey, and I do believe that London is mentioned. Britain is mentioned in there. But it is alarming that we don't see any real direct reference or symbolic reference to America, and that is going to be something that we will talk about at another point. How that fits in. I don't know what that's going to be. It could be that the rapture of the church took America in another direction. Now that the restrainer, and I draw this from chapter 2 of verse 2 Thessalonians, that the church is the restrainer. We have the Holy Spirit living in us, and we're the ones that are holding back evil. We're not going to wipe out evil. We're not going to do away with evil. God will deal with that in Revelations 20:10. Our job is to restrain it, to do what we can do as long as we have daylight. It says, work while there is time to work, because there's coming a night when no one shall work. What is it talking about, that work? The work is spreading the good news and the gospel of Jesus Christ, because Jesus said in the 24th chapter of Matthew, it says that the whole purpose of this delay is so that the gospel of this kingdom can be preached to every nation, and then the end will come. That's the whole purpose. So hopefully that answered your question there. Any other questions? Well, we want to encourage you that if you're watching this lesson and you think of a question, just respond to that question and forward it, and then we'll write them down and we'll try to answer them here, and we'll have a Q&A time. But we will get to these questions, because that's why we're here. It's to try to help answer some of the concerns that you have, and help. And the whole purpose of you understanding is so that you're not afraid. You're not walking in fear, but that you're walking in the peace of God, even though they're fearful things that we're facing, so that you don't collapse, so that you don't crumble in the midst of some scary things, so that we can have the peace of God inside of us, even though that we're looking at horrible things. So that's my prayer for us, is that we can have the peace of God reside in us as we face some very scary things. So write your questions down, send them to me. Godspeed.